Hey guys, today I thought I would film a makeup tutorial for you for beginners. I've had a lot of people message me and request that I do a video for people who don't know a lot about makeup, who are just starting out, who want some recommendations on things. This may be a long-winded video, but if you are new to makeup or you just don't feel like you're really getting the hang of it, hopefully this video can clear up some of those issues that you're having and we can just dive into the nitty-gritty of everything. It'll be sort of a more basic eye look. I am a freelance makeup artist if you didn't know. I'm gonna stop talking now and we're just gonna jump into it. Even if you have oily skin, you're gonna wanna moisturize because makeup sits the best on moisturized skin. Also, if you have not, I would wash your face first. Exfoliating can help too. It just removes any of the dead skin, and a lot of times people neglect to take care of their skin, but they wonder why their makeup looks like shit. If your skin looks like shit, your makeup's gonna look like shit. That's just the reality of the situation. I don't get zits here. I don't get zits here. I don't get zits here. I get zits. This little goatee of pimples, if you will. So a lot of people ask me about my favorite primers. I'm not a primer person, personally. I just don't find that I've ever seen any sort of difference that they make in skin. I've done a lot of primer tests where half the face I wear primer, half the face I don't. I've done it multiple times. I've never seen a difference. So I'm sorry if you really want me to talk about primers, but there are a lot of other YouTube channels out there that'll probably do that. I just don't find that they've ever made a difference for me, and I just don't think that they work. So that's just my 2 cents. When I do clients' makeup, I do eyes first and then skin last, because when you're doing eyes on clients, the worst case scenario is that you get shadow fallout onto their cheeks and it ruins the foundation that you just did. However, most people in the world like when their foundation is done first because it just makes you feel weird to have your eyes done and your foundation not. I'm gonna do my foundation first, and for that, I'm gonna be using the L'Oreal Pro Glow Foundation. I would say normal combination skin, so I like this because it lasts well for me. I personally have drier patches, so I like to really hydrate my skin, and I like my skin to look dewy. So this is personally what I'm going to use. You can use whatever works best for you. I would say a good drugstore foundation if you're looking for something. If you have really dry skin, the L'Oreal Pro Glow is great. If you have oily skin, I would stick to more of like a Revlon Colorstay, or the Rimmel 25 Hour is a great foundation. I love that one so much. And honestly, the best way to do it is just to test it on your skin. I find that a foundation that looks good on everyone, every skin type that I have found personally, is the NYX HD Photogenic Foundation. You can find NYX foundations at Target, a lot of times Fred Meyer. You can get them online, which is where I've gotten mine. That's what I use on the majority of my clients because personally, it doesn't have to be a high-end foundation for me. It just has to perform well, and that one performs well on almost every skin type that I've used it on personally. People say it lasts well, it looks great in photography. It's not that cheap though. I love NYX, but as a drugstore makeup brand, for their foundation to be $18 for a tiny little tube. So I'm gonna kind of go through the layers. I'm gonna talk about each product and recommendations as I go through. Again, this is gonna be a really long-winded video, but if you're looking for just tips and tricks as far as I don't know shit about makeup and I just kind of want to get the ins and outs of the whole thing, here we go. I prefer to apply my foundation with a beauty blender. I love beauty blender, and if I had a million of those, that'd be great. Unfortunately, I don't like to pay $20 for a sponge, especially when there's such an amazing drugstore option. This is the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. If you have never tried this, it is certainly worth trying. It is essentially a beauty blender, but it has this little flat edge to it, which I personally love. The beauty blender is an egg shape, so it doesn't have this flat side, but I personally love this. It's $5. I get mine from any store, honestly. Target has them in a double pack for $10. You can get them singly as well for $5 or $6. I think it's like $5.99. I got mine either at Fred Meyer, Walgreens, Rite Aid, pretty much everywhere has them. So if you are looking for a really good option from the drugstore, this is my shit. I'm gonna try to use as much drugstore makeup as I can right now because I feel like for a beginner, the likelihood that you're going to go to Sephora and spend hundreds of dollars on makeup is fairly unlikely. And if you're a beginner, why would you go waste all this money on YSL and Marc Jacobs when you're brand new into it? So I apply a bit of foundation to the back of my hand, and then I dip my sponge into it, and again I apply it with the flat side, so I just start dabbing it onto my skin. When you use one of these products, you don't want to wipe, but you want to dab it into the skin. That's going to give you the best coverage because you're pressing the foundation into your skin. The coverage literally looks like a second skin if you do it that way. You press the foundation in. This also shears out the coverage so you don't look cakey. I do drag it down my neck because I want a lighter coverage down there. So I sort of drag it back. I always bring foundation down my neck because me personally, I do not ever want that disconnect that you can get when you don't drag it down your neck. If you don't, sometimes you can just, it's apparent if you have a poor foundation match. To match your color, honestly, it's just a trial and error thing. It's best to match right here. You can match it on your neck. You can match it on, like, from going from your neck to your face so that you can see, because you really want to match your foundation to your body and not necessarily your face skin. If I matched my face skin, my foundation would be red. But as you can see, the foundation itself pretty much matches my body skin. Most of my redness is down here. I don't have rosacea, but I certainly have redness down on my face here. So I really like to add the majority of my additional coverage here. Now, as you can see, I didn't bring my foundation up super high underneath my under eyes. We're gonna be using concealer. The least cakey you can make your look, the better. You don't want your skin to look like you're wearing a shitload of foundation and a shitload of concealer. I'm trying to do as minimal as possible. I know I don't have, you know, a lot of blemishes or a lot of acne. If you do, obviously, I can kind of point you in the direction of people that have more acne prone skin and teach you acne coverage and things like that. For my concealer, for a good drugstore option, you can use the NYX HD Studio Photogenic Concealer. This is my favorite concealer from the drugstore for a couple of different reasons. You've got a couple of different options here. I'm going to talk to you about this one and then I'll give you sort of my other options as well. This one is probably my favorite drugstore concealer because it's got good coverage, it's dewy and blendable and very skin-like after it's blended. You're going to see everyone online talking about a lot of different types of concealers. I'm going to name a couple of other good concealers from the drugstore. So the Maybelline Master Conceal is a really good one as well. It's got great coverage. Another good one is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer. That one also has really nice coverage, but I'm going to be using this one today, which is the NYX HD Concealer, and I'm using the color CW02 Fair. This one is a really good concealer. As you can see, like, look how nice the coverage is, but it stays nice and dewy. Now, I know that this looks like a lot of concealer. For me personally, I have quite dark under eyes. You see a lot of people doing this little triangle sort of highlight underneath the eyes. This does a couple of different things. So for me personally, this highlights my under eye area. The center of your face kind of needs to be the brightest. It just adds the best dimension. So taking the pointed end of my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge, I'm just going to push it up and I bring it up onto my eyelid. And I do this because I'm using this as an eyelid primer for my eyeshadow. And what this does is it cancels out any of the redness and discoloration and veins on my eyelid and just really is a good base for my eyeshadow to sit on top of. And again, you want to press this in. You don't want to wipe. You want to just really bounce it into the skin. Now, you'll see some people online and they'll be highlighting their chin. They'll put concealer here, they'll put concealer here, up their nose and up their forehead. At times, I'll do that. You can certainly do it if you want. It adds more coverage than I think I personally need. So I'm not going to do that right now because I don't think it's necessary all the time. For me right now, my face is pretty much one solid color and I don't really need any sort of additional coverage in that area, and it can just add a bit of cakiness. You can do it if you want to, but me personally, I'm not going to show that today. You can either powder your face or not powder your face. I'm going to because for me personally, I like to just do it. I do love a good dewy finish on my skin, but I like to powder certain areas like under my eyes, and I also like to set my eyelids with powder. As far as powders go, there's a couple of different options. I'm going to show you this one because it is drugstore priced, but it is not sold at the drugstore. I'm going to give you two that are sold at the drugstore though, so bear with me. This is a really good powder. This is the RCMA No Color Powder. You can see you get a relatively large bottle, 3 ounces of product. This is $12 online. You can get it at Beautylish, I believe. I will link everything that I talk about in this video in the description of this video so you guys can check it out if you want to. This is 2 ingredients, talc and silica. It can have flashback if you use it heavily, and I've tested that with my flash photography. But if you're not going to be getting married and you're not going to be getting flash photography done and you just want something good for an every single day-to-day, this is going to last you a long time and it works great. Today I'm not going to use this. I honestly want to use my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder because that's honestly my favorite one. Just nothing compares to it. I'm a loose powder fan. I used to only like them pressed, but I love loose powders. The Coty Airspun is another really good one from the drugstore. This one I got at Walmart. This is the color Naturally Neutral. It smells like literal grandma house mothball shit, but it's also like $6. I got mine at Walmart, although the last time I went to Walmart, I struggled to find it. So I don't know if they stopped carrying it or if they were just out because it's made really popular. This is probably what I'm going to use today, just so that I can show you how it works, but this is a good powder. Ugh, I hate the smell. I take my dampened beauty blender and I dip into the Airspun powder on the tip of the beauty blender, and then this is what's considered baking. I've applied my concealer, everything's all good, and I'm just going to gently bake my under eye. I apply excess powder to that area and to my eyelid. I'm also going to apply the powder to my breakouts because I find that if they have a dewy appearance, they are more prominent looking, and that's the last thing I want. The last thing I want is for my zits to stand out. I don't powder my whole face heavily, but I do take the powder into areas that I know I'm going to be putting powder products on. So if you're unaware of what baking is applying excess powder to a certain area, letting it sit for 5 to 10 minutes, and then brushing away the excess, essentially using your body's heat to melt that powder into the foundation, into your skin, so that your foundation and everything lasts a lot longer without budging. So I'm gonna film a brow tutorial today, so I'm gonna skip over my eyebrows, and that will be in a separate video, but that's gonna go in depth on how I do my eyebrows. I'm gonna show 2 different techniques. I'm gonna show the more natural way that I do them, and the more Instagram way, more bold brows, sharper tail, everything looking perfected. But I wanna just have a dedicated eyebrow video so that people have something that they can turn straight to if they wanna know exactly how I do my eyebrows. For my contour and my highlight, I'm going to be using the NYX Highlight and Contour Palette. NYX is a drugstore brand that sometimes can be a little pricier. This might be, but if you actually look at what you're getting 4 contour shades and 4 highlight shades, 2 of which are matte, 2 of which are, one of which is kind of more of a satin, and then 1 of which is shimmery that I'm going to use for my highlight today. This is my NYX 05 brush, and this is what I'm going to use for both contour and highlight. I'm pretty sure most of you know, but I'm going to be targeting this again at beginners. So if you don't know, contour is to add dimension to your face. You're going to be doing shading and highlighting. In anything that you do as far as drawing or painting our faces with makeup, you want to make sure that you're adding dimension so that you're not just one flat canvas. You can't see where my cheekbones are. Well, you wouldn't be able to anyway because I am a moon face. But if I did have any sort of dimension to my face, the foundation sort of would have taken it away. So we're gonna add that back in, define our cheekbones, define our nose if you like to do nose contour. I personally don't. Typically, the best thing to do is to go in with a cooler toned contour shade. I have fair skin, so I'm gonna go in with this shade here. If you have deeper skin, you can go in with this one here. If you have a lot deeper skin tone than me, you may need to go in with a little bit warmer tones. I'm personally gonna go in with this shade here. The area that you want to contour on your face is right underneath this cheekbone. So if you touch, you can feel where your cheekbone is and feel where it sort of sinks in. We all have a skeleton under here. It sinks in for all of us. Some of us, you just really can't tell. So I sort of start back here on my ear and then just start slowly buffing the contour on, right into where that cheekbone would naturally be. I sort of start with the excess of product back here and then start buffing down. You don't want to take it too low either, but sort of stay right into that cheekbone. And the reason that I do this buffing motion is so that I'm not having a straight line be straight in my contour. Starting here. But as you can see, it adds definition and makes it look as though my cheek does sink in right there. I mean, it does a lull, but like not a lot. If I didn't eat so many damn croissants, it would. So as you see, it just adds shape and dimension to my cheekbone, and then you can kind of pull excess product down. If you have a larger forehead, as you can see I do, if you put contour up here next to your hairline, it can make your forehead appear smaller. Push it right up into my hairline and then sort of blend it down. It can just sort of make your forehead look smaller. So you can see it just sort of ties the whole thing down in together now. I'm going to take those same colors and I'm going to contour out my double chin. Make sure you blend it a lot. I don't naturally have any sort of neck whatsoever. I'm literally a round head on top of shoulders. Where's the neck? As far as blush goes, from drugstore options, there are a couple of different ones that I personally really like. I really like the NYX Ombre blushes. I think that they're really pretty. They look really intimidating in the pan, but they really aren't. This is Milani Luminoso. This is a really pretty starter blush because, as you can see, it's a nice peachy tone with some shimmer in it, and it just looks really beautiful on the cheeks. This is the NYX Ombre blush in the color Sweet Spring. I'm going to do a quick swirl into that, and as you can see, it's quite pigmented. So I'm going to tap off the excess, and I'm also going to take and tap that on the back of my hand so that it's not going above and beyond on my cheeks, because I just want a light wash of color. I have very fair skin. It's not super fair, but this works great as a highlight. This is in the NYX Contour and Highlight palette. This one is really beautiful. I believe it's called Ice Queen. And I'm going to take that same NYX 05 brush. I'm going to dip into that. And the area of your face that you want to highlight is just the top of your cheekbones here. Now, I like to bring shimmer down to the apple of my cheek down here, just to the kind of the top of it, and really sort of blend it out, because I just feel like it adds a youth and a really pretty radiance to the skin that I feel like is sort of needed. It just looks really pretty if you ask me. You know, you don't have to do that step, but I just really like it. So I just take that brush and just sort of tap it on the top of the cheekbone. I also take a little bit of that highlight and tap it on the end of my nose. Some people don't like a nose highlight. I don't know why. I think it looks beautiful. And I also take a bit of highlight onto the very top of the bridge of my nose, run it along my Cupid's bow, and on my chin. Another good drugstore highlight that is my all-time favorite, is so beautiful, is the Physicians Formula Shimmer Brick in the color Natural Nude. You can see it is well loved. It's like falling apart. It's literally falling apart. It's so well loved because I do have more of a fair skin tone, so you can see I've used the shit out of the fair side. I'm going to add a little bit on top of this because it's so beautiful. I just received this in the mail and I have not tried it yet. This is the Rimmel Magnifeyes Eyeshadow Palette. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say. A drugstore eyeshadow that is really good is NYX Single Eyeshadows. I made my own little custom palette here. NYX eyeshadows are really, really good. They are nice and pigmented, nice and creamy, nice and buttery, just a beautiful formula. I personally really love them. And the price is right. And you can get this little 9 palette right here. This is all from their website is where I got this, but you know, I don't know if you can find these in stores, but if you can, they're really, really good. They also have a lot of little quads and palettes in that way that you can get at either Ulta, or you can probably get them at any drugstore that carries NYX products. With your eyes, you want to first start off with a fluffy blending brush to put down your main transition shade. A transition shade is the color that you're going to blend on your eyes that's similar to your skin tone, that's going to help other shadows blend out on top of it. For that, I'm going to be using this drugstore brush, and this is the NYX number 17 brush. This is very similar to the Sigma E40 tapered blending brush that I love. That's my holy grail fluffy blending brush, but this one works great. I'm going to start off with this shade here. It's matte, which is what you want to do when you go into blend, and it's nice and close to my skin tone so that it'll help blend out shadows. Taking the fluffy blending brush, I'm going to run that right into my crease of my eye. Now I'm going to go in with this shade here. So these are pretty much the only 2 matte shades in this entire palette. And I'm going to go in with this is a drugstore brush as well. This is the Real Techniques Base Shadow Brush. And I'm going to try to do my best to do a sort of smoky outer corner with this. When I'm doing... motherfucker. This is a worst case scenario as far as my eye stuff goes. Okay, so you can see I just placed it in the outer corner and I'm blending it through the crease just with windshield wiper motions, back, forth, and then I take and I sort of do little circular motions on the outer with the remnants on the brush to blend out the edges, keeping the product as concentrated as I can on the outside. Now, why this eyeshadow is bad. Now, I have to repeat this on my other eye with trying not to fuck up my base because I've just done my skin and I think my skin looks pretty good right now. But the worst case scenario is that you're gonna mess up your makeup with what just happened. When I got fallout on my cheeks, I take a big fluffy brush and I just quickly whisk it away. Don't blend it in, just kind of whisk up and out so that you're getting the product off of your face but not pushing it into your skin. This is a crummy eyeshadow because it just falls off onto your cheeks and blends away. With as much product as I put on the brush and tapped off the excess, it should have placed into my crease, blended onto my eye, and stayed heavily pigmented and not had all of that fallout on my cheeks. That's not good. And that's the reality of a drugstore eyeshadow a lot of the times. They're not like incredible. So I'm going to place into the outer corner. I'm sort of patting it onto the outer corner here and blending it in. Windshield wiper motions. Fallout. And then kind of blending out the edges. I'm going to discontinue using that Rimmel palette and I'm just going to go in with my NYX shadows because I know that these are good. A lot of people really look good in warm toned browns like this. So I'm going to take this color here from NYX. I don't know what it is. So I'm going to take that on that same brush and I'm just going to pat into the shadow and blend that onto the eye. Right now I'm taking this all over my lid. I'm not kind of teaching you a specific eye look. I'm just kind of taking it all over my eyelid. You can also take that first blending brush and blend over the edge so that you get a nice seamless blend. If you want more color payoff, you can dip into that color and pat it on versus swiping. Swiping, you're going to remove a lot of the product, but right now I'm just sort of patting. Kind of focus it on the outer V. See that fucking fallout, dude. Oh my god. If you focus on the outer V of the eye, just adds a little bit more dimension into the crease and that outer corner, which a lot of people like. That's one of the favorite style eye looks that a lot of clients ask for. I also like to take some of that warm tone shade, tap off the excess, and then run that under my lower lash line. This just ties the eye look in together so that you're not super top heavy. If you don't prefer this, you don't have to do it, but I find that it looks nice on almost everyone. I'm gonna take the Rimmel Scandal Eyes Waterproof Kohl Pencil. This is a really good drugstore kohl pencil. It is super black, long lasting. It's amazing in the waterline. Pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of hard when you first start, but you know, practice, practice, practice. I also run it on my upper waterline or your tight line area. What that's gonna do is it's going to blend your lashes in. It's not gonna give you that weird skin looking gap underneath your lashes. It just blends everything in together so much better. And I'm gonna apply mascara. My favorite drugstore mascara is the L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black Mascara. This one is just super, super black. It is long lasting. It's really easy to use. I like the brush. I am going to do false lashes today. This is a realistic tutorial and I would never go out without false lashes. If you don't want them, you don't have to wear them. You can stop here. Obviously do your eyebrows though, which are coming up soon. But today for my lashes, I'm going to use the Ardell Wispies multi-pack, and these are a really easy beginner lash to apply because they have a thin clear band. I have a full video called Lashes 101 where I explain all about false lashes and how to apply them. I think I may update that video because it's kind of old. I think it's like a year old or more, and I just kind of want to update it. These are really, really beautiful lash. Holy shit. For my lash glue, I'm going to be using the Duo Lash Adhesive in the dark tone. This is my personal favorite drugstore lash glue. And again, I will link my lashes video in the description of this video. The description is going to be full of links and information if you guys are curious. And lashes just make such a huge difference when it comes to a finished eye look. I find that they pull the entire thing in together, and even a basic eye look can just be brought to so much more life with a beautiful fluffy pair of lashes. You can get eyelash extensions if you're not into applying false lashes, but I just find that they're so easy to do once you get the hang of it, and practice makes perfect. And if you're not good at it right now, just keep trying. It really does get easier, I promise you. I'm going to show you my favorite nude lip combo, and these are both drugstore and they're both amazing, and the formulas of both are incredible. So my first and foremost favorite lip product is NYX Cosmetics Circe Lipstick. This is the most perfect nude color ever, and it is just beautiful. It's so beautiful. I apply it to my lips. My next favorite lip product from the drugstore is Wet n Wild lipsticks. This is the color Mochalicious. So beautiful. I own multiple of these because I never want to run out of this color. They are just amazing. These lipsticks are so good. They're matte, but they're not too matte. They're literally so beautiful. I run it right over the top in the center of my lips because I like that look. It gives a gradient look. It's like an ombre lip, but opposite. Because a lot of times the ombre lip is darker on the outside and then it goes lighter in the center. I personally like a different look than that. I like the center to be darker and the outside to be nude. That's me personally. If you don't like it, don't do it. This is the makeup done without the brows. I'm going to film my brow video now, do a separate video on that, and then I will come back and finish off the video. And this is the finished drugstore beginner makeup look for you. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it was helpful for you. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments. Also, if you guys like this video, if you could give me a thumbs up, that would help me out a lot. Interaction with my videos really does help, so I appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't already. I put up new videos all the time. Also, you can follow me on all my other social media sites if you haven't already. Those are all Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Periscope, you know the drill. Robbie D. Christie on all of them. I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you at my next video.